Hi, I'm Adam Morvee, Ground Up Inspection Service, and this is Ask the Expert. Today we're going to go over home inspection tips for home buyers and sellers, and just those homeowners that want to know a little more about their house and what they can do to prevent costly repairs. So we're going to start on the outside. Here in the Pacific Northwest, it rains a lot, so we see a lot of moisture-related issues. So when looking at the outside of the house, it's important to assess where the rain goes, where does the water go. On this home here, you can see the gutter downspouts come down. They are a little bit short, but they also have extension blocks to help pull that water away from the house. These are important because without these, water would pool around the foundation and potentially go inside the crawl space. And that's a conducive condition for wood-destroying insects and organisms such as mold, and we have a lot of anabid beetles, termites, and other insects that can eat the wood structure. It's also good to have your gutters cleaned to make sure that those aren't plugged up and overflowing and running into the siding of your house. So you want to make sure those are clean, free-flowing, and pulling water away from the home. Another thing we look at is the siding. And the exterior siding of the home, also really important to maintain. So again, because of that water that we have here in the Pacific Northwest, all the rain that we get sunshine, rain, humidity, a lot of expansion and contraction. So it's really important to make sure that your exterior siding is maintained with paint, caulking, and proper flashings. And this house has vinyl siding. Vinyl siding is really easy to maintain, but it does hide some potential problems. So if you do get moisture intrusion issues in vinyl siding, it may not be visible for quite some time. Moss on the roof saturates the roof surface. So when it rains, that moisture doesn't evaporate or run off the roof surface as fast. Therefore, that shingle material, if you have asphalt shingle in particular, can become saturated, and then that may result in mold inside of your attic space. And it also prematurely wears out your roof surface. So there's plenty of companies in town that can do moss cleaning services. There's also products you can purchase at the local hardware store, such as like Moss Out, which is a zinc-based powder that you can just apply over the roof surface. There's also sprays that you can use that help kill the moss. So those are just some basic tips and tricks that you can do to maintain your house. So you may have seen around town or even in your own house these crawl space vents below the house. And these ones have louvered vents that you can open and close. And typically these are closed in severe freezing weather only. The misconception is that people install these foam blocks in the fall and pull them out in the spring. And that's to increase energy efficiency and prevent frozen pipes. The misconception with that is that that's an old house remedy. And modern homes have underfloor insulation and insulated pipes. Our climate isn't cold enough to justify using those all winter long. And the problem with closing these vents off is that that creates a conducive condition for wood-destroying insects and organisms such as mold and anabid beetles and termites. I've witnessed many homes that have been destroyed or had significant damage underneath just from having vents that have been plugged too long, too frequently. So it is very important to keep these vents open. If you do choose to close your vents in the wintertime, it needs to be done during freezing weather only. Once the freezing weather has subsided, those vents need to be opened up so any accumulated moisture or condensation can evaporate and be pulled through the crawl space. All right, we're here in the utility room. You can see we have the gas forced air furnace and an electric hot water heater. And so this furnace was installed in 2017. It's not very old, and it was serviced just over a year ago. So it is recommended that gas forced air furnaces be serviced annually. So it is good to get on a maintenance plan with a local HVAC technician or contracting company to try to get that done before winter months. A lot of people do that in the fall as part of their winterization. And what they do is they make sure the burners are operating properly, they change out the filter, and they just make sure that there's not going to be any potential problems in the coming season. The hot water heater, what we look for on this is age, signs of leaks and corrosion, and whether it has water heater earthquake straps installed or not. So it is required by most lenders to have earthquake straps installed on the hot water tank. So this is something that can hold up a purchase. And if these are not installed and it is called out by an appraisal, it's also just good to have those on there. Obviously, they're called earthquake straps for a reason. In the event of an earthquake, this helps prevent the water heater from tipping over and potentially breaking gas lines or water lines and causing major leaks. So what we look for on age is around 10 to 12 years before a water heater needs replacement. This water heater was replaced in 2017, still has plenty of life left, but I do see that there's actually some corrosion on these fittings, so that may need to be addressed sooner than later. All right, let's talk about ventilation in the kitchen. So this you see is a gas range, and we do have an overhead vent here that is ducted to the exterior. So this is done perfectly well, exactly how it's supposed to be. A lot of older homes may or may not have a vent, or may vent back inside the house. And so as that may be a nuisance, if you have a gas range installed or a gas cooktop, that is a safety hazard for those unburnt gases. You want those unburnt gases to go up and out of the house. Also, without a vent that goes to the exterior, you're going to get accumulated condensation inside the living space. So it is really important to make sure that you have preferably a lighted and ducted hood above your cooktop or your range, regardless of it being gas or electric. Well, I'm Adam Morvee, Ground Up Inspection Service, and this was Ask the Expert.